So good morning, everyone. This is Tracy Hurd. We are here to discuss the FY 2023 NOFO. This is our second office hours. I would like to welcome each of you here. This is your opportunity to ask any questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Take that off the table. We learn through questions. So please, if there's a question, clarity, let's discuss it. So we're going to jump right into it. This meeting is different than the first NOFO office hours. The first office hours was really establishing the basics, understanding the fundamentals. If we don't understand the fundamentals, you can't go to the next level. So that was fundamentals. This one is more about let's look at what it really requires from you if you're a new applicant and even existing applicants. But here's the thresholds you need to consider. Here are the possible projects that you may want to consider. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This one is a little more conversational than our first office hour. So let me jump right into it. Hold on. So here are some considerations if you are thinking about applying and you've never applied for a HUD grant before. You have to meet minimally the HUD thresholds. Excuse me, one moment, my phone is ringing. Hold on, sorry about this. Sorry about that. I didn't want it to continue to disturb us. HUD thresholds, that's the I don't want to say that's the bottom layer. Then on top of that, we have COC thresholds. So before we do move forward in anything, move your application forward, you have to meet those two levels of thresholds. Then once you meet that, then you need to look at the eligible components. We're going to spend some time on the eligible components. One thing about the HUD funding, we are really told what we can apply for. How we discovered that is in that 115-page document when they're announcing the NOFO is open. When you look at the eligible components, then you have to drill down. You see, I have 24 CFR 578. Those are all of the costs that are allowable under your eligible component. So you want to even drill down more. And of course, myself and Erica can help you do that. That what you're applying for, here are the eligible costs that you can get reimbursed for. So number one, HUD thresholds, that's the bottom floor. COC thresholds, that's the second floor. If you get those two, then you're eligible to move to application submission, our application submission. The third level is, let's look at what you are wanting to apply for. Does it fit in the eligible components? If it does, let's see if what you're writing your application for, according to the 24 CFR 578, if you can get reimbursed for that. Those are the considerations. The letter of intent is due tomorrow by 8. So if you are looking at, excuse me, wanting to apply for any eligible components, then your letter is due tomorrow. And then that application, project application is due 8/28. So we receive your letter of intent tomorrow. Monday, I will publish a document that says when it was sent, what time it was sent, all of it is date stamped and time stamped by email. I will send that to everyone and let you know that you made the time frame, and let the community know here's who's going to apply for projects, and here's kind of the idea that they have for the projects that they're going to submit an application for. Okay. So Aaron is going, I'm gonna stop my screen. He's gonna bring up the thresholds because I want to take you through those thresholds really quickly, the HUD and the COC. So let me stop sharing real quick so Aaron can bring up the thresholds. Okay, thank you. So the HUD thresholds, and I sent this out. I don't want to read it to you, but look for the document in that communication I sent out July 27th. It says, does the applicant have an active SAM registration? If you don't have a SAM registration, you cannot participate in this. And it takes maybe a month to get that. I'm not sure. No, I don't know, because we've had ours for years. Do you have a valid unique identifier? That's really based on the SAM. So make sure you look at these, keep scrolling, the HUD threshold requirements. I think there's 12, keep going. You have to commit to participating in HMIS. Just make sure that you meet. There's 16. Then we go to the COC. And so our thresholds, hold up right there, are, do you participate in coordinated entry? Are you housing first and low barrier? Do you have documented secured minimum match? Remember yesterday I talked about the importance of match. Take time and read through this. I don't want to read this to you all. I don't want to take time to read this, but make sure that you are paying attention to the thresholds, HUD and then COC. Aaron, you can take that down. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. So now, here are some possible ideas for new/expansion projects. So let me tell you, I've spoken, I've read the IST reports, I've read the QB&L reports, I've read the CQI, the CES. I listen in on conversations. I listen to the referral meetings. This is where, because we are in the formulation of our strategic document, we have to rely on our 10-year plan, which is really outdated, but some of the same things apply, and then marry that with what we're seeing. I've talked to Misty, I've talked to the Hara. What we're seeing, how can we fill that gap or minimize barriers? And so here's some of the things that I think would be, possibilities for new or expansion projects. So it is no question that we need more PSH beds. I put seniors because we're starting to see a number of seniors enter into homelessness. I'm just throwing this out here, but we're at 92, and Travis can give me the exact number. I know overall our program is 92%, but our PSH might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but we're in the 90s, which means we need more PSH beds. So we could bring on a new program, or we can take those dollars and the Shelter of Flints, the GHSs, they can expand their current PSHs. So PSH beds. So if I were approaching this, I would be saying, I might want to go for PSH, permanent supportive housing, or for THA, transitional housing, IRH. Now, this is just me listening to the community, listening and being involved in the conversations, actually reading the reports that they submit. THRRH may be a good way for us to manage those clients that have severe SMI, severe mental illness, that cannot be in a congregate setting. For example, if they need oxygen, or they have health challenges, or they have a family or children, moms with children who don't feel safe or living in their car, we would take them from that scenario, bypass the shelter, and put them directly into THRRH. So that might be something you would be interested in. There are dollars for DV, and I put VOWA because there's a new line item that HUD added for FY 2023. There are DV projects that are available. And that's where a lot of the money is. I'm going to remind us of the money. And then for SSO, we talked about this yesterday, I believe, the need for community navigators. Now, there's only one CE grant. And so we would be submitting it, and then we would subcontract it out to, let's say, I don't know, Catholic Charities wanted to submit something for navigators. Then they would write their proposal, complete their application, and then we would submit it under the overall umbrella of coordinated. There's only one coordinated entry application per COC. So these are possible ideas. Again, these ideas are based on the 10-year plan, which is outdated. I know that, but if you read it, the exact same challenges, barriers are still exist. I based this conversation on, again, QB&L, IST, moving up, referrals, CQI, SOAR, their reports, and read them, and here's some areas. And you may see something else that I did not discuss. Just think about those. This is just an idea generation for new programming. Now let's go over the pots of money one more time. I don't know why my thing is not moving. Okay, so remember, new projects are called COC bonus projects. We have $280,000. HUD is more likely to fund a project that is actually housing people than a COC. Their priority is housing. Now, I'm sorry, not COC, coordinated entry navigator. Doesn't mean that we don't want to put our money there. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the likelihood of a new project being accepted by HUD. So just think about that. And again, I stated that you need to meet the HUD COC thresholds. DV has $561,000 there. So if you have a DV project, then it's more than likely that that's going to be approved. HUD has, that is one of their priorities, is to provide safe living for our DV clients. So you more than likely that project is going to be approved. More if we have a good narrative that really captures what our COC does, and we score high. So I want to talk about reallocation. For those of us who have current projects, as we look at the trends over the last 4 years, we may say, you know what, I'm going to reallocate $10,000 out of this project to go towards new programming. Because I've noticed that in the last 5 years, every year we give back $10,000. I'm going to tell you why that's important. HUD values reallocation. To them, they are saying you're evaluating your projects, clap, more points for you, and you are putting some skin in the game for new projects. So reallocation plays a key role. So I am going to open it up for questions. Wait, let me look in the chat. There may be some there. Oh, okay. Yes, thank you, Maurice. I'm sorry about that. I forgot to tell everybody to put their name in the chat. Any questions, any ahas, any, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or the floor is open for questions at this point. Go ahead.
I have a question. Yeah. And this is just maybe not even something we can discuss here, but can you tell me what the difference is between this NOFO and the RFPs that are coming out from the COC? I guess I'm not real clear on what this all this process is.
Okay.
And I know what all the NOFOs are. I know what an RFP is, but like, how does this NOFO align with the RFPs?
So this NOFO is driven by HUD. This is a HUD NOFO, highly competitive, once a year. And we are competing for our existing 14 programs. We are competing against 400 other COCs. That's HUD. Without that, we lose all of our program, 2.5 million. The local RFPs are saying our governance charter says every 5 years, you should put out an RFP for the lead agency and for coordinated entry. You don't have to change, but you need to put out an RFP.
Okay, so this NOFO, if we were to apply as a new agency, you had mentioned doing a community navigator, then we would submit a letter based on that.
Yes.
This will continue for at least one more year.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing something, which you know how that is.
Yes,
a few votes lately. So
yeah, that's a very good clarifying question. So yeah, that RFP separate right now. At some point, it'll come together. But for FY 2023, yes, please. If that's something that Catholic Charities is interested in, yes, or THRRH, please submit your proposal.
Okay. And then again, I can probably find this answer in the 115-page document. But when you say the DV VAWA, do you have to be a domestic violence program, or do you just have to serve domestic violence specific clients in order to get that funding? Because we know we only have the Y, and I'm just wondering, does it have to be a DV agency?
It has to be an agency that serves the DV. There is a question, and you can find this also in the RFP that we submitted for our local competition. It's only 12 pages. So we tried to take that 115 and condense it down to 112. I mean, to 12 pages. If you serve DV and it's documented, you can submit under that as well. Again, we would submit one, we would have the YWCA, this is theirs, and then we would have one for, let's say, if you did something or Shelter of Flint did something, yes, we have, yeah.
All right, thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. Thank you for the questions. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Yeah.
In the DV, does that also, or is that like an add-on, or is the question is this add-on, is it under the DV? People who were sex trafficked, would that fall under the DV?
Yes. And that is a big question on I just went through the narrative yesterday, and that is a very important question on the narrative. So absolutely great question. It does fall under DV.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? These are great questions. Any other questions?
Tracy, thank you for sharing this information. I do have a question regarding the DV VAWA as well. If organizations are not approved for that specific amount, because there are organizations within your current COC that services those clients, will that amount be absorbed by that organization, or will they stay inactive for our COC?
Help me understand. Let me see if I understood this right. You're saying if repeat that.
Okay.
I want to make sure.
Let me see if I can ask it more directly.
Okay.
If no other new organization is approved for such funding, will the current organizations that service those specific individuals actually absorb or take that money? Will it be reallocated? Some I don't know that HUD necessarily does it now, but some funding opportunities allow for again, that reallocation component, to be done later in the fiscal year or later in the year? Is that something that is usually done from your local CLC?
Okay, so in the NOFO competition, if no one submits an application for that additional 560,000, then the only DV project we have today is YWCA. That's about $244,000.
Right.
If we don't submit anything else, that money is going to carry over to next year. So we have like 800,000. That remaining is allowed for us every year to submit for. They kind of reserve that, and that's what's left after the YWCA 2. I think it was like 890,000 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just stays in the pot.
Okay.
That's what it has done for the last 2 years.
Excellent. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, and I want to address that. So if we have a program that we're seeing that's not going to spin down at the current rate,
right,
we can engage other agencies that service DVs to help us spend this money down. We can put out a local RFP. Hey guys, we're not going to make it. We need to spend $100,000. Everybody in the community that's serving DV, we need you to submit a proposal. We can do that as well.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions? Jessica?
For me specifically, I always have a lot of questions.
That's good.
I'm trying to refrain, actually.
Ask your question.
With regard to HMIS, for those organizations that are servicing DV, sex traffic, SA clientele, there is an anonymous portion on HMIS, and as with other data gathering systems, will those autonomous or anonymous information, as we're putting that into the system, will that constitute as evidence of serving DVSA or sex traffic victims?
So yes, and you guys can correct me, is it Empower? You do have an information management system.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Empower DB.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There is a way we can have that information translated with all of the protections into HMIS.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Don't hold back, because when you ask those questions, it helps all of us.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any comments? Let me look in the chat and see if aging, good morning. Okay. No comment. Okay, well, it is 10:26. I am looking forward to see who's going to participate in the FY 2023. I'm rooting for all of us to put together a application where HUD approves and awards us every program that we submit. So thank you. Our next NOFO TA is the 16th. Now, if you have questions, because it's due tomorrow, your LOI is due tomorrow, just email me or call me. My number is on all of the emails. Call me on my cell if you have questions about your particular project. I am available. Erica is